Welcome to the HoHo Show, rated the #1 most listened to podcast on Pluto. So join us now as we discuss news, politics, current events, and so much more. So clear the airwaves and strap in as we defend the Constitution. Because freedom matters.
All right, we are broadcasting live from the Cottage Studio. You can check out my website, thehohoshow.com. I am all over the place on social media and a proud member of Weaponized Sloth Productions. So welcome to the HoHo Show. And as always, I am your host, HoHo. All right, guys. So welcome, everybody. Welcome, Spreaker. Welcome, Twitch, YouTube, Mixer, Periscope, and Facebook. And if y'all want to follow along with some of the articles that I will be using on the show, you can head on over to my website, thehohoshow.com. Click on the newsfeed tab, and right there, access to the magazine, whatever that means, the collection of stories available on flipboard.com. You can download the app on your phone. You can go to the website. There's all kinds of good stuff. That is my go-to hub for anything, everything, and all things news. It's a very good site. I like it. So, guys, all right, we're going to start off a little weird. Yeah. This story, I seen this, and I laughed. I mean, come on. How can you not? And you guys are going to get a pretty good laugh, too. From Gizmodo, man suffers a 9-day erection after bruising his taint in a moped accident. Oh, yeah, that happened. So what happened was, riding along on his moped, whatever, had an accident. It was fine for a while, and then he noticed there was some issues. Yeah. It persisted. He said there wasn't any pain involved with it. It was just a little embarrassing. He didn't like walking to places. Obviously, they went in there. They did a little surgery. They got some issues, because like broken blood vessels, restrictions going on in there. They got it fixed. I think like a year later, it's like there's no issues. He's doing fine. He's doing fine. So don't worry about him. He's doing good. It's yeah. I had to start with that story. I mean, come on. I mean, how could you not? How can you not laugh at that one? I mean, come on. I mean, that was hilarious. I seen that come across on the Flipboard. I'm like, yeah, I got to throw this one in there. Moving on from there. So I read about this one, and I tell you what, I was actually kind of shocked. You know, there's a definite shock factor in there. But after reading the article, I was like, hey, okay, this doesn't really sound bad. From Forbes, Apple is pulling the plug on iTunes after 18 years. Yes, this sucker has been around since 2001 when they launched it. But basically, is what they're going to be doing is they are getting rid of iTunes. And my assumption is, don't you dare start playing stuff. I will hurt you. Okay, good. You're muted. Fine. So apparently is what they're doing is I'm assuming, squirrel moment, had to bring myself back in. But I'm assuming is what they're going to do with with people spending the money that they have and having the songs that are only available on Apple and whatnot, I'm assuming that all that stuff is going to transition into, the new, the new app that they're going to be having. They're going to have 3 different ones, one for music, one for videos, and one for podcasts. So I thought that was pretty stinking awesome. They're separating it, kind of making it user-friendly and, a little bit more user-friendly and more, targeted to the 3 different things that they're going to have in the 3 different apps, So I thought that was pretty cool, giving it a shot, trying something new, and hello, Pirate Monkey, love the name. How are you doing over there in Mixer? Good to see you. Good to see you. But yeah, I mean, it looks like, they're just trying something new, transitioning into it, and I highly doubt you're going to be losing anything. You're going to be gaining functionality. I'm sure, they're pretty excited about this. I don't think they've made the official announcement. I think that's coming out like next month or something, maybe. Let me check on that, actually. I'm not 100% sure. I know I read it in here. I don't remember, but it's not, they haven't officially released it yet. Whatever thing they got going on, that's when they're going to be, really doing the full announcement there and letting everybody know, yeah. I'm capping man real good. That's awesome. Good to hear it. Good to hear it. So, yeah, there's that one. Apple making some changes. Moving right along. This headline, now this is something that I get, I've been asked about quite a few different times. As you guys know, I'm a vapor. I spend a lot of time doing it, and there's this oil that you can get, that has a lot of benefits, and it's something that, there's a lot of misinformation out there, misleading stuff out there, and, it's kind of, if I knew then what I know now type of things, But this headline from the Real Estate, I started using CBD oil every day, and this is how it changed my life. And of course, she talks about some of her, personal things, but CBD oil, it helps, battle cancer. It helps, shrink the size of tumors. It helps with anxiety, depression, help cope with like OCD or CDO, which is OCD in the proper order. It helps with arthritis, osteoporosis, back pain, leg pain, joint pain, just pain in general. It helps you sleep. It helps, one of her experiences, it helps with, nightmares, which, deeper sleep, I guess. I don't know how that works, more restful sleep. There's a lot of health benefits involved in this, and of course, this is one thing that as a professional, did you read the news about the alleged freedom molecules? No. I'm scared. I want to say no. No, I have not. No, sir. But, this is something that, doctors, they're limited on what they can tell you about it because it's not a pharmaceutical thing, people that are working in these different industries, they're, forbidden from really giving you the benefits like that. I mean, they can give you literature, they can direct you to places you can go to read the benefits, but as far as really promoting it, they're not supposed to do, which I think is like kind of, it's like, dude, I mean, if they've done the studies, and I mean, dude, I tell you what, I have heard some pretty amazing stinking things. Let's see, they rebranded it into Freedom. Oh, U.S. natural gas. It's U.S. natural gas. They rebranded it into Freedom Molecules. That's awesome. No, I hadn't read anything on it. But yeah, you know, they've done quite a bit of studies. And I tell you what, there's this one study that I was, reading into, and I tell you what, it was absolutely amazing, what this study said. Did I read the news? I read the news regarding what? I mean, I look into news, quite frequently, Yeah, I hadn't read anything about it. Hadn't seen anything about it. But yeah, but this one study that I had, that I had read, it was pretty stinking awesome. I mean, it really was. It was a very young, I don't remember for male, female, don't remember what she was, but very young person that had a very good sized brain tumor in her head, and it was like they really couldn't operate, they really couldn't do a whole heck of a lot for her, and is what they ended up doing was getting CBD oil and putting it like on her pacifier, and I don't know exactly the doses that they were using, but it was, let's put it this way, from a very significant size tumor, unoperational. This was something that was going to, it was going to, kill her early type of a thing. It was going to very much, it was going to be a hard life for her, and she was going to die early, In the course of 8 years, it was either 4 or 8 years, I don't remember which. I think it was 4 years. The tumor had shrunk, gone, no traces of it whatsoever because her brain had completely healed. Couldn't even tell that it was even there after like 4 years. I mean, just what had gone on, what the body was able to do with this. It was amazing. It was amazing, Do you think the CBD oil occurrence could be a placebo effect? In some cases, it's possible. It's possible. But in others, I mean, it's just there's too much, studies and documentation that's been done by people that, I don't really think so. I mean, I just don't. Especially, being able to get rid of a tumor and her brain or his or her brain completely healing to where doctors, with an MRI can't even tell that anything was there in the first place. I mean, I don't, you can't really call that a placebo effect if you've got the evidence right there in front of you, and I've, seen some of the scans that was put in this article. I mean, it was a very well done article. It was a while back ago. I'll have to look for that again. I don't know if I still have it available to me, but, I'll look for that, What about the marijuana extract? That is basically from hemp or marijuana. I mean, that is extracted from it. And a lot of the times with the CBD oil that you get, it still has a very small trace amount of THC still in it, which is, the get high chemical in marijuana. And CBD is an extract from that. They tend to use it in various cancers. Yeah, exactly. That's more or less what I'm referring to with the, with the tumors and whatnot. And they've had some, really good, that they've seen really good results from using it in cancer patients, dealing with the pain, different things of that nature. So, yeah, they've done a lot of study, a lot of research into it. The problem is, it's something that is, people can grow it themselves. People can extract the CBD from it, and it's something that they can't really make money on, which is more or less why they don't use it. I mean, think about this. I mean, this is something that, so basically CBD is actually refined marijuana extract. Some refined, it's, concentrated, they concentrate a little bit more, but yeah, that's what it is. I mean, it's more or less where it comes from is, marijuana plant. But, again, it's not, CBD, which is like cannabinoid, it's not the chemical that gets you high, which is the THC, So yeah, and thank you, by the way, for the follow. I do appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, they've made a lot of benefits for it. And here's what one of the issues is with it, and this is something that I've heard quite a few different times. People say it, there's no money in a cure. Let that sink in. There's no money in a cure. The money is in the treatment. Think about it. You get a cold. What do? You buy over-the-counter stuff. You buy, let's not cough stuff. You buy, sniffle and runny nose. You buy this, you buy that to help you either better cope with the symptoms or just kind of get rid of the symptoms, but that's where the money is, So why get rid of it? And this is more or less their point of view. Why get rid of the cancer to where we make, whatever for this, or we can treat the cancer and our customers keep coming back and coming back, and that's more or less, it sucks. It's horrible, but that's more or less what happens, Yeah, curing them makes them not pay, and that's just, it's a sad state of affairs. There's something that I had heard a while back ago regarding this one organization and this very well-known organization and this fundraiser that they used to do, and they had found a cure for something. I don't quite remember what it is. And they actually held on to that cure for a while because they wanted to make money on their, yearly, their annual fundraiser event. And it's like, are you kidding me? There's some that I really haven't, read up a whole heck of a lot on that one. So I really don't want to give, too much details into that. But, that's something that it's not a rare thing really for that kind of stuff to happen. Let's see, you say, but you can't really say cancer could be treated, but it won't because of that system. Main reason would be that there are some important and or rich people that die from cancer when they could and should clearly benefit from the apparent elitist cure. Find it regular for some government to kill their masses. I find it regular for some governments to kill the masses systematically, but the rich and the influential, I would think they would get access to that said cure. Yeah, I definitely do understand that point, but think about it. With certain cases, you really don't see a lot of really rich, high-end people, really, getting a lot of that kind of stuff in a matter of speaking, I don't see a lot of it, however, I'll tell you what though, and this is something that is, from a point that you brought up, Christopher Reeves, Hollywood actor, everybody knows Superman, Steve Jobs. Oh, okay. All right. He has cancer. I did not know. I did not realize that. But yeah, there's some things that they have done, research that they have done that, and some of this stuff has been done in other places, interesting enough, they actually they did a head transplant on somebody. They put, a guy's head who was, no, I'm sorry. They did this with monkeys. Actually, I take that back. They did this with monkeys. I don't remember what country this was in, but they had transplanted one head to another, and it was like it lived for quite a while, but the animal went senile. And they actually did later try this on an individual, somebody that his body was just, ravaged with disease, whatever, different things, didn't have, use of limbs and whatever. And another guy whom was basically, brain dead, and they did a transplant on him. Again, I think this might have been Germany or Russia or something. It was somewhere over there. Just amazing stuff, though, what they've been able to accomplish with it, You're right, he is. They planned a manned version of the head. They planned the manned version of a head transplant. Brazilian doctor, okay. But it's not yet in motion. They just planned it. Oh, okay, I thought they actually did. I know they did it with monkeys. They did it with some monkeys as like a trial thing that they did. And, what it was an aspect of there was so much pain involved that the monkey ended up, just, killing himself, very early. Russians also put on additional head on a regular living dog. Really? Huh. And it died because the second head kept biting the prime dog's ears, and they got infected. That's weird. Yeah, some of the stuff they try, man, I'll tell you what. But interesting stuff that they've done in science and, with medicine and everything else. Very neat stuff in there. All right, let's move on. Get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. All right, here we go. Where was I going to next? I had another one. Nope, that was it. We are going to go ahead and take a quick break. And when I return, also they kept a severed dog's head alive by pumping oxygen and blood artificially. Yeah, they've done stuff like that. It would respond to sensors, sound, and touch. It died soon, though. That's interesting. Well, you'd think that with if the body is still receiving, the electron, the pulses of energy and whatnot, and the blood flow to keep it alive, that it would still be basically, responsive to stuff like that. So that's interesting. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick break, guys. And when we return, we're going to be talking a little bit about Obama, a speech that he did in Brazil, which just the straight out lies that came out of this man's mouth. So just a couple minutes, and we will be right back. Welcome back. And hey, John, go over there in Mixer. Glad to see you. All right, guys. So as I said, we're going to head on over to Obama land. Okay. He did a speech in Brazil. And this thing was just filled with outright lies, and this is one of them things that he had done during his presidency as well. This is nothing new, and I am going to go ahead and play a small clip from this. This is from Hot Air. The article is from, there. This, I think, is being pulled from a tweet by somebody, but here is the audio.
The most difficult day that I've had was the day that there was a shooting in a school where 20 small children were shot, as well as some teachers. And my daughters were only a little bit older than these young children that had been shot, and I had to go and comfort the parents. And some of you may be aware, our gun laws in the United States don't make much sense. Anybody can buy any weapon, anytime, without without much, if any, regulation. They can buy it over the internet. They can buy machine guns. And for me, having to speak to parents who had lost a child just 2 days or a day after it had happened, and not being able to assure them that that would change, that we would fix this. I couldn't bring their children back, but I couldn't even promise them that we would change the laws so this didn't happen to somebody else's children.
So yeah, flat out lies in there. I mean, one, the kid didn't have, he didn't legally purchase the gun. He killed somebody and took the gun. I mean, it was, and the things that you got to go through to get one is just unreal. One of the things this sucker talks about is, well, not him, but, the article, I mean, it brings in, with how much it costs, like machine guns. One of the things that was brought up in there, it's like, dude, you can't have an assault rifle. That's what an assault rifle is. It's a fully automatic weapon. You pull the trigger, bunch of rounds come out until either the magazine runs dry or you release the trigger. That's how that works, You can't just buy one of those, If you do want to have one, you have to register, with the ATF. You have to pay money to do so. And the ATF has to, they tell, like every single weapon individually has to be registered to whom they can inspect you at any time, wherever, this weapon is at. And they report this information to local authorities. This way they know. They have your address, everything's on file. They can check it out anytime. Make sure it's being secured properly, all kinds of things. I mean, this isn't something that you can just go out and buy. There are already laws in place keeping this from happening, So, yeah, just outright lies in there. And one of the things that I'd read on a different article, see, there's another article actually in here that, oh yeah, the clip's in here too. Isn't that cool? Yeah, and this other article that I got, again, head on over to, the HoHoShow.com, go on the newsfeed tab, and you guys can check out my Flipboard article. It's got every single article in here. But this article is from the Daily Wire. Watch Obama tells multiple lies about guns in the U.S. to a crowd in Brazil. And this one, it breaks it down a lot better. Same video. This is actually the video clip. And, this one breaks down quite a few different things, the lies, the truth in there. It breaks it down very well. So if you guys are interested, head on over there, check that out, But one of the things that I had seen in a different article, this is an article actually comes from the Federalist, It's time for the Supreme Court to make states stop ignoring the Second Amendment. I had heard somewhere, this was recent, somebody mentioned something to the effect of, the backbone of American society was like the freedom of press. Okay. No. The backbone was actually the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment is pretty clear. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Now I understand, certain limitations being put on this. I understand it, Constitutionally, I can't exactly say as if I agree with all of them. However, I can at least understand a significant amount of them. It's like, okay, yeah, that's fine. I don't necessarily agree with the idea of outlawing, fully automatic weapons. And if the military has them, and this is as a case law from way back when, I'm sure you guys are aware that, sawed-off shotguns are illegal. you know. But the reasoning, you may actually be shocked to know. The reasoning for it is that the sawed-off shotgun, this is a modification to a weapon that is not currently used in military. That's why they deemed it illegal. So you take that same logic, you take that same reasoning, you take it a few different directions, and it's like, okay, so that means that if they are using the weapon, that means that the citizens can use the same weapon. Absolutely. That's what that means. You know, because the whole purpose of the Second Amendment isn't so that this way I can go out and hunt, you know, survive the Oregon Trail, not die from dysentery. Don't know who Terry is, but evidently you can't diss him on Oregon Trail. Everybody's died from that. It was from a tyrannical government. Last line of defense, you know, so if you are going to protect yourself from a tyrannical government, from tyranny, how can you do that if you have substandard weapons? You can't. That's why the whole thing was put there. You know, that is the backbone. In fact of the matter is, if it goes against the Constitution, then it's not a legit law. It's not a legal law. It's not nothing that you necessarily have to follow. You have to adhere to. It's unconstitutional, you know. Interesting stuff. Yeah, I'm not going to touch base on that one. It doesn't matter. All right, let's get rid of that one. That one. We're going to slide on over. We're going to talk a little bit about AOC. AOC. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. This article, this one, it was like, what? Oh, really? I was about ready to flip it over. There we go. Ocasio-Cortez, guaranteed housing comes before a person's privilege to earn a profit. Like, what? Really? You know, that just, no. You know, that's again, you know, it's, okay, now look, I'm all for housing. Everybody having housing. I'm all for it, you know. Yeah, we don't want people living on the streets, but here's the thing, guys, you know. One of the things that makes America amazing, makes it great, is opportunity, you know. Here in the U.S. of A., we have, you know, it's equal opportunity. You know, not equal results are guaranteed, but you have the opportunity, you know, to do something different, to advance, to do, you know, whatever, you know. But there's also that thing with choice, you know, and people have friends. Some people get benefited, you know, because of whatever, you know, connections they've made with other people, and so they're able to climb up the ladder quicker, you know, yada, yada, blah, blah. That happens in every company, every business, every place is the same. You know, but for the most part, you've got equal opportunity. You have that ability to be better than what you were, you know. And in a lot of different ways, and this may mean you have to change something about yourself, but we have that opportunity, you know, to do that. In a thriving economy, go to work, you can pay for those things. You can pay for your housing. You can, you know, there are, you know, low-income housing, different things of that nature, which I'm all, you know, I'm like, yeah, I'm a little bit better on that one, you know, as long as they are at least paying something into it, and it's nothing that they are completely given for free. But even still, yeah, whatever. You guys know what I'm saying on that one. But privilege, you know, I mean, you earn it, you work for it. You know, if the government's taking it from you, that's theft. Whether it's legal theft, according to them, or not, it's still theft. You know, you can't give to A what you don't first take from B. That's where I'm getting at with that. You know, because the government doesn't have. The government has to take. There are some things, according to the Constitution, that they have the right, the legal constitutional right to take money from you for, and there are others that they, well, don't. Yes, we do cover politics, we cover news, we cover, you know, society stuff, cultural things, you know, whatever the case may be. What type of government do you think would best suit a developing country? As in democracy, anarchy, totalitarianism, and why? Good question. As a developing country, no on anarchy. Absolutely no on anarchy. Reason being, anarchy is more or less the law of the jungle. You want, you take, no consequences. There's no civility in anarchy. There's no society in anarchy. There's no civilization in anarchy. So you can't have both the law of the jungle and, no, you're not offending me by interrupting me at all. That's a, good conversation. I'm glad for the question. But yeah, you can't have those type of things in a developing country. You can't have it at all. It's not compatible. Okay. It doesn't go together like oil and water. It just doesn't go together. Democracy. Now here's the problem with democracy. Democracy isn't what a lot of people think it is because we have been duped by our education system that, we have a democracy. The US of A is not a democracy. A democracy is actually, hold off on that. I'm going to open up my Facebook page because I got this little thing in here that, would definitely answer this question. So let me pull that up right quick. Democracy nowadays is actually capitalism. Not exactly. I know what you're saying, but not necessarily. All right, here we go. In a democracy, the majority rules. If the majority decided they wanted to take your bike, they can take it. In a republic, your bike is your property, and you do not owe it to anyone. It cannot be taken against you, against your will, by law. America is a constitutional republic. The Constitution is the law. The republic, the individual, protected from the majority by constitutional law. A constitutional republic is what we were given, and it is up to us to keep it. So yeah, a democracy is a rule by the majority. I've said many times on the program that, we do not want a democracy because a democracy is you have two wolves and a sheep voting on what's for dinner. It's great for the wolves, not so much for the sheep. Majority rules. Constitutional republic is definitely the way to go because it's an aspect of you come together on your core principles and then you let the states decide the rest, which is more or less what it was supposed to be like, So, totalitarianism, no. I'll get back to republic, a republic. I'll get back to that. I'll go into the totalitarianism. That one I don't. Why I say democracy is capitalism is because the masses are actually enslaved to corporations, and we all know capitalism is basically corporation heaven. And by owning the money, the masses need to buy food. Yeah. They own the masses. I kind of figured that's what you meant by that. I'll get back to that one. Totalitarianism is kind of a no either because you think about it because, it's like, let's just take President Trump, for instance, he hires people in there to do certain things. He can't do it himself. Totalitarianism, they're running everything. Look at Venezuela, okay? 20 years ago, it was a thriving nation, thriving country. They had a great location. They had, oil. They had crops, good growing crops, everything. Now you got people starving in food lines. Why? Because the government took over. Totalitarianism. The government took over, take from all and distribute to everybody else. Why did it fail? In a totalitarianism, you're not the beneficiary of your own ideas. Okay, you come up with an invention, you don't benefit from that. Everybody else does. What's in it for you? What's in it for you? Why would you come up with, we were talking about, medicine and different things like that. Why would you come up with the next great invention if you're not going to make a little coin from it? Okay, and that's why it's like, Venezuela, just as a small example of it. because, Venezuela, because they had the thriving economy, they went into socialism, and then of which case their economy started to crumble because, they took from the people and gave it to everybody else, to where the people were no longer beneficiaries of their own work. They didn't benefit from their, in investments. They didn't benefit from, their ideas. They didn't benefit from their work. It was everybody else benefiting from it, in which case, why would you continue to bust your butt and not get anything out of it? Well, it's just, you get the benefit out of helping everybody else. Yeah, well, money talks. Money talks. But that's an aspect of it. Totalitarianism has less corruption. Huh? Talking about totalitarianism leader. Like a leader of a country having complete control. That's what I'm referring to. The leader having complete control. Where is... Do you really want a monarch? Anyway, let's get back into republic. Your original question was, regarding, a growing country, a developing country, and what what I was referring to with the, totalitarianism is, how can you grow if the people that are in your country don't benefit from their own ideas, their own inventions, their own, works? I mean, think about it. We had, so basically it's all the corruption is in one exact spot. Yeah. Well, I mean, even still, it's the same type of thing, because otherwise you would have to have the leader, the totalitarianism, you'd have to have that leader as he would be the one who would have to come up with all the ideas. He would be the one that would have to, come up with the next great invention, But with capitalism, with not democracy, I'm going to throw democracy out of that, but with, a republic, it's the government that's out of it. You are ruled self-governance with a set of rules, and you benefit from your own work. You benefit from your own labor. You benefit from your own ideas. You benefit from your own whatever the case may be. You benefit from your own research, If you work for another company, obviously you are getting, a wage. You are being compensated for your time, for your ideas, for your whatever, but, well, yeah, they can pay and hire people for their own stuff. Kings and emperors have done that for thousands of years. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you might get paid for it, but, I mean, here's the thing, the employee who... Okay, let me ask you this one. Yeah, also revolt as always. All right, I'll give you a historical reference, okay? The best thing to happen for the cotton industry in the United States was the elimination of slavery, okay? Because there wasn't any during the slavery, because the slave owners didn't care about, advancement in technologies, advancement in, machinery, different things to do the work that the people were doing. They didn't care. They had slaves, Some, did pay people. They did get compensated, but bottom line is, there wasn't advancements. There wasn't any, advancements in technology. After that, yeah, the industry started to thrive because advancements were being done, So the slaves wasn't benefiting from their labor. And, the slave owners didn't care. That's an aspect of it, not exactly the best of, analogies to throw in there, but, I think you can understand where I'm getting at with that. The only advantage, in my opinion, of totalitarianism would be the fact that there is no say to say party war that, country and culture, and the country by saying blue is better, or red is better, yellow is, because I'll have only the emperor leader to look up to. What about Japan, though? Japan is a monarchy, and it's doing great. Think about most of where the advancements that they have has come from. You know, they take other people's technology. China does the same thing. You know, they take other people's technology. They may figure out how to do it better, but the actual stuff wasn't necessarily theirs, you know. But even still, think about, all right, how long's Japan been at it? For quite some time. Where did the majority of their advancements come from? It was from us, you know. They may have done some other stuff in the meantime, you know. So did Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison wasn't an inventor. He invented the light bulb. No, he didn't, actually. He didn't invent the light bulb. And he didn't actually even invent, you know, DC, direct current. Somebody else did. He took the patent. He, you know, took the stuff and he, you know, sold it. All right, moving on. Let's see. Where was I at? Ocasio, yeah. Privilege to earn profit. Let me get back into there. He stole the patent. Exactly, he did. He stole the patent. Kind of the same thing with, you know, Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla, amazing, brilliant man, you know, with the invention of AC. You know, he did a lot of different things. You know, I mean, it wasn't Edison. Edison was a thief. Edison didn't invent anything, you know. But yeah, moving on. Oh yeah, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. That's where we're heading at. Let's see. Oh yeah, I know his plans for the free AC current. And actually that's kind of not exactly true. Yep, electrifying the atmosphere. Yep, exactly. You got that right. Yeah, his plan was basically to have a cable-free society. He wanted to give away the power, and that's more or less why they squashed that entire, you know, all the plans for that, took it, stole it. There you go. Yeah, and there's actually a place that you'll find this one interesting. There's actually a place, I forget where it's at. I had heard the name, don't remember where it is right now, but they actually have a Tesla tower, you know, at that location, a new one. It's only in the past 2, maybe 3 years that they've started to do some studies and research into it and different things of that nature. You know, military funded, of course. You know, but yeah, interesting stuff on that. Very interesting. All right. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. We'll get back into that. Officials commit treason. No. Where did that come from? Maybe it's this one. Oh, no, I'm talking about the video. That's what I'm wanting to look for. Oh, it was supposed to be up front. I'll find it. I will. I'll play a little bit of music for you. Watch. Look for it. Turn that down. Okay, here we go. I hate pop-ups sometimes. Just thinking things come out of nowhere all the time. It's horrible. Anyway, she was talking about... All right, we'll get rid of this. She was talking about minimum wage. Okay, we're going to get into minimum wage a little bit. Okay, but Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she was talking about, you know, minimum wage with the men and women in the service industries that get paid a lower minimum wage, you know, because tips are supposed to counter what they don't make in actual wage. Okay. And of which case, I mean, I could kind of understand where she's coming from, although the analogy that she made was absolutely ridiculous. I'm not even going to talk about the analogy. Okay. Because it was so ignorant that it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. It's one of them aspects of she kind of needs a history lesson on what she was talking about before she really tried to make that type of an analogy. But I digress. But she was talking about, the minimum wage, how she wanted it to go up, and of which case, in to an aspect, I understand what she's talking about. But here's the thing, guys. Minimum wage was never intended to be the place you stop. It was a starting point. It was never meant to be able to support a household. It was never meant for that. It was never designed for that whatsoever. It was more or less a starting point for people who were just getting into the work, just getting into getting a job and, responsibility, all that kind of good stuff. That's the basis of it. Okay. It was a minimum wage, a place to start. It wasn't supposed to be the finishing place. It was a starting point, first rung on a ladder, that was its intended purpose. Now, granted, there are some places that, we'll get into what she was talking about with the article, and it was, with service industry making less, but here's the thing, though. Yes, they do make less, but their wage, where it is lessened, is compensated by tips. And there is a certain amount of tips that if they do not get, let's say the service industry and, she makes under a certain dollar amount. I don't know what that dollar amount is, but she makes under what that minimum is. She's compensated for that, by her place of employment, So, it isn't like that they don't have, they do have a minimum wage. Let's just say 2 or 3, 15, whatever. I don't even know. But let's say their tips don't compensate to where they're getting the actual minimum wage. They do get compensated by their employment. So if they make less, they still get that paid back. So it's not like they're just out the money. That's not true. They do get that back legally. They have to, so they are compensated. I'll tell you what, good waitresses can make a ton of money. Holy crap, Granted, it's a hard industry. That is one industry that I have never been in. I've done a lot of things, jack of all trade and a master of none, as the old saying goes, But in the food industry, working as a server or waiter, that's something that I've never done. I'm too ADD. I don't think I've got the brain capacity to even remember for half a second. Okay, you ordered what again? I don't think I can do it. It's just no. But, I tell you what, if you're good at it, you can make a lot of money, so I can't necessarily say as if I disagree with, or agree with the lessened minimum wage for people in the service industry. It is compensated, but it's like, minimum wage is actually kind of ridiculous in the first place because, here's the thing, and I didn't actually intend on sliding into this, but, hey, we're here, might as well. The whole $15 an hour minimum wage, that a lot of people are, wanting. Here's what you don't understand, or here's what people haven't really quite thought this thing completely through, taking it to fruition, if you will, It's currently, 8.25? I think they're wanting to bump it up. Even some places has it at 10, but going into 15, okay? Now, do you actually think that nothing's going to change in the industry if they so do this? Do you really think that? Because if the company isn't making money off of you, then the company is going to quit your employment. They're going to fire you. They're going to terminate your position, So they can either hire you for $15 an hour that can't seem to get an order right to save your life. RoboBurger is coming to a McDonald's near you. It's going to go automated. Don't believe me? They already have it. They're already doing test runs in certain places. I have seen ordering kiosks in a McDonald's. I've seen that. When was the last time you've gone to Walmart? Do you have cashiers? No. Now you got scan and goes. You got self-checkout. You got things like that. Why? Because the machine per hour, per year is cheaper than the person to stand at the register and do it. It's cheaper. So, if you want a $15 minimum wage job, then just be mindful that there's not going to be minimum wage jobs out there. I mean, you're forcing yourself to go to school to get educated in a trade in order to actually make some money, because flipping burgers, it's not going to be around anymore. I mean, these are jobs that's just not going to be available anymore. Low-skilled workers, things like that, it's not going to be around anymore. That's what this whole thing is, because it's the aspect of supply and demand. That's a concept of capitalism, and it goes for employment as well. The supply and demand is a simple, basic concept. The more there is of something, and the less that people are wanting it, the cheaper the price is. This is also based off of just the price of the components that make it up. This, that, and the other, but basically, for this pen, if you have one pen and 1,000 people wanting it, this pen is really, really expensive. But if I've got 5 pens and nobody wants it, $1. Hell, I'll give it away. That's supply and demand. The same thing goes in the workplace. In labor. I have to. I got to spend $15 on you. I don't need you. I can buy Robo Burger over there. Less. It's not as expensive. It's cheaper. The more people there are to fill a position, the less the position, the less the position is going to pay. The less people available to fill a position, the more it's going to pay, because they want to make it attractive to draw people in so that this way they can get the job done. That's how supply and demand works in the workforce. That's why things like, skilled employment actually means something, because like me, I'm a truck driver, for instance. I've done electrician, I've done quite a few other things, but truck driver, I got to go to school for this. Get paid pretty decent, I get by. It's a trade type of a thing. You're not just going to straight out of high school start becoming a truck driver. You can't do that. It's a trade business, on demand. People need them. People want to buy stuff and get shipped to them everywhere, So supply and demand, guys. You're striking yourself out of a paycheck. Moving on. Actually, let's see, where am I going for this? Oh, yeah. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break, the last break of the evening, actually, and then we're going to talk about hypocrisy, double standards. We're going to talk about that. That's going to be the last thing we talk about. This is already like 56 minutes into it. Holy crap, time flies. All right, guys, just a couple minutes, and I will be right back. This is the HoHo Show. All right, welcome back, ladies and gents. All right, so we're going to talk about the whole double standard thing. You know, we're going to talk about an accusation that gets thrown around by the left so much that it has lost basically all power. All power. All. You know, and the sad thing is this is an accusation that basically gets tossed out by the left because they don't actually want to debate the issue. They don't want to debate things. They just want to throw an accusation out there in order to shut down opposition. That's what it amounts to. They're wanting to shut down opposition. Because the right are more prone to fight over facts. The left has flat out come out and said that facts don't matter. It's about emotion. Facts don't matter. So facts are irrelevant. It's perception. It's how I feel. It's emotion. Facts don't matter. I don't care about facts, they have said. And the accusation that I'm talking about is racist. It's like, okay, call me a racist. I'm not, but, you know, call me that, whatever. It's lost all its power. It doesn't mean anything. I know who I am. You know, I know my friends. I know my outlook on life. I know my outlook on people. I know what it is. So to have a double standard, it irks people like me. For instance, this guy right here. This headline's from the Associated Press. Prosecutor shifts Smollett recusal reasons, releases files. Apparently, they are actually going to. It's going to be public knowledge. It's going to be something that you can look up and get the information off of it. Different things of that nature. Apparently, they are. You know, because they tried to get that to where it wasn't going to be public. You know, a part of public record. They're trying to get that. That got squashed. Good thing, because freedom of information, it's public record. It should be available to the public. You know, there you go. If I would have done something like that, it would have been bad. Horrible. This person does it. Privilege. Hollywood privilege. This is privilege. Hollywood privilege and political privilege is the only two privileges that I even acknowledge, because it's the only two privileges I've ever seen. That's it. I'm not seeing my white privilege. I don't privilege from it. Hillary Clinton privileges. Otherwise, she'd be in jail. She'd be dead. She'd be in jail, definitely. He would be in jail. Smollett would definitely be in jail. Hollywood privilege. How long is some of the stuff with Weinstein, whatever that guy's name is? How long did that go on? Privilege. And the double standard. The other article I seen. This comes from the Federalist. This one, MLK's alleged abuse of women does not negate his achievements. And you know what? I can agree with that. You know, I can agree with that. Because the man did a lot of achievements, you know. But think about it. If this guy was a white Republican, okay, so he was Republican, but if this guy was white, it would probably be a totally different headline, you know, and I'm sure it would have been, you know. The man did great things. He really did. You know, he believed in a colorless society. Love it. Love to see it. Definitely would love to see that. Complete colorless society. But it's a double standard. You know, and that's one of them things that people like me, it ticks us off, you know, because we hear white privilege, we hear male privilege, we hear mansplaining and all this other kind of stuff. And it's like, do you even know what you're talking about? You know, no, don't get me wrong. You know, I'm all for women's rights. I'm all for, you know, equal opportunity this and equal opportunity that. I'm all for that. Absolutely. You know. Yeah. We'll move on. We'll just move on. There's some other interesting stories in here that I have seen, that I found, more double standard stuff, actually, even. Anything that I'm really wanting to talk about, though? Because we have gone on for about an hour. That's generally about how long the show usually runs. So just doing a quick run through the articles to see if there's anything else I want to talk about, bring up. There you go. Ooh, cake. I like cake. Oh, yeah. This one I actually do want to talk about. I forgot about this article, actually. Wasn't where it was supposed to be. Oh, wait. Nope, that's not the actual article. That was the wrong article. Yeah, here we go. That's the article. That's the article. Now, this article comes from the National Review. Headline, nominees hostile to religious liberty have no place on the federal bench. How do you feel about that? Do you think that nominees that are hostile to religious liberty have no place on the federal bench? I do. But not for the reason you may think. I don't have that position because I think religious liberty should be, upheld. I believe that all of the amendments should be upheld. All of this here, Bill of Rights. This is my pocket constitution, by the way. You can pick these up for $1 on Amazon. Get them delivered to you. Great things to have, Great things to have. But yeah, the Bill of Rights. Okay, there we go. The amendments. There you go. Every single one of these puppies need to be upheld from all the way from 1 on to 10 and even 27, I think is how many there are. 27, 26, something like that. I think every single one of them should be upheld and defended. Anybody who disagrees with that has no business being president, on the federal bench, on any bench, actually, in Congress. No place whatsoever. There's this little thing, oath of affirmation. Let's talk about the oath of affirmation. Just in case you guys didn't know, anytime you are taking a position, president, Congress, any of them, you have this oath of affirmation you're supposed to say. I do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. That I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. So help me God. Actually, I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which I am about to enter. So help me God. That's what it is. I always forget that line in there. I forgot it again, even though I was trying to read it. Support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America. What's part of the Constitution? Bill of Rights. That was a fail. Bill of Rights, that's part of the Constitution. That's 1 all the way to 10, all the way, every one of them, 27. Or 28, or 26, or I'm looking. There's 25. 27. I was right, 27 of them. Sweet. And that also includes the Second Amendment. That's the First Amendment. Freedom of speech, press, peaceably to assemble. Freedom of religion. The Third Amendment. You don't have to house soldiers. I think. Holy crap, what's the Third Amendment? Yeah, no soldier shall in time of peace be quartered in any house. Yeah. If you don't agree with those, then you shouldn't have these positions at all. Change your mind. All right, guys. That is the show. That's all I got for today. So I thank you guys for stopping by. Thank you for joining us. I do appreciate it. Check out the HoHoShow.com for all things in there. You can get, articles, links to the articles. You can get info on every single place that the HoHo Show is available. I am on many platforms on just the audio side of things. Spotify, iTunes, or whatever that gets changed to, iHeartRadio, Castbox. I don't even know all the places that I'm at. Of course, Spreaker.com, first and foremost. I'm also available on all kinds of things. You just go there, check out the website. And for all things Weaponized Sloth Productions related, you can go to WSPFM.com. Check out all that stuff. It's a good time. Well, guys, thank you very much for joining in. Good night. Sleep tight. Y'all stay care. Catch you next week. And Monday, the religion. No. Actually, I don't even know if I'm going to be doing that Monday. I might be taking off. All right, guys. Have a good one. Bye. Start this music again. Woohoo. There we go. All right, guys. Bye.